Hey everyone, this is Sunny Justice with It's a Criming Shame. Now, of course, before we get started into this video, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit that notification bell for all the notifications whenever we drop a video or do a live. And if you don't mind as well, please hit that like and the share. It really does help and it's very much appreciated. So in this video, we're going to talk about the boy that speaks from heaven. And this is an experience that I personally had, and because it's his birthday today and his name is Jaron, I wanted to share that experience with you. So let's first start off with saying happy 24th birthday, Jaron. Jaron was just over 3.5 when he went to heaven from meningitis. So let me give you some background on Jaron's story. Michelle Coleman, is Jaron's mom, and Jaron at the time had a sister named Savannah. Now, Jaron died February 22nd of 2003. He was 3.5 years old. So, Mickey writes, "Some days are harder than other days, today being one of them. I lost my son, Jaron Coleman, to meningitis February 22nd of 2003 at the age of 3. I think of him always, but still miss him so much. I do have to say that because of our loss, Jaron has saved many lives, as his death put the inoculations in place for children at age 1. Hugs, baby. Mommy misses you." Please continue listening, and I will tell you of the boy that speaks from heaven, and his name is Jaron. So, to give you some more insight, Mickey is in the top right-hand corner. That is Jaron's mom. Now, Randy, who's in the bottom of the picture with Jaron, is not Jaron's biological father or Savannah's, but he took those two children on like they were his own. So let's back this up just a little bit more. My mom and Bruce were together for a long time, over 20-something years, and Bruce had 3 daughters, and Michelle is the oldest daughter of Bruce. And Michelle, again, so admirable, her strength through that tragic loss that she had gone through at that day at the time, and how she was at the ceremony. Again, just a person to be admired, that they had the strength to keep their composure, and yet at the loss of Jaron. So Jaron, they thought they had that he had the flu, and then he started getting these black dots on his arm, and they were rushing him to the hospital, and sadly it was too late. Jaron had passed. He had meningitis. And Michelle and Randy would feel such a huge loss, of course, to this day. And I didn't know Jaron too well. I'd met him a couple of times that I recall. So for me, nobody could ever take this story that I'm about to share with you away, because I didn't know him, and there was never words that would ever have been said to me or spoken to me besides Jaron from heaven telling me about them. So I'm going to read to you something that I left on a post this year when Michelle left that post about Jaron on February 22nd. So I wrote, "Whether you remember this or not, Mickey, it was Jaron that gave me the gift of knowledge, that we can talk to the other side and we continue on. To reshare the memory again, I remember my mom calling me to tell me of this sad news. My son Matthew would have just turned 6. The heartache I felt for you was unbearable on my own heart. I went upstairs and laid across my bed, and I closed my eyes, and I said a prayer for both you and Jaron. In my head, Pops, please tell my mom I'm okay, repeating it a few times. Just figuring it was my head speaking to me, I said, "No can do. Not gonna look like a crackerjack, no matter how open I am. To tell your mom you're telling me you're okay? That I can do a lot of things, but no way." The voice Jaron says back to me, "I will make you a deal. If I tell you 2 words, and you hear those 2 words at my funeral, will you please tell my mom I am okay? That I'm sad because she is sad, but tell her I'm okay." I said to Jaron, "Okay, that sounds fair. That I can handle." He tells me these 2 words, Tay, and I always forget if the second word was Popo or Papa, as my brain was startled, thinking, is he really talking to me? So I make him this deal. The funeral was about a week later. Part of me was wondering if I will hear these words or not. I was kind of excited because I wanted to know if he truly was. But if he didn't, then it meant it was only in my head. We go in, and I remember on the back wall of the church, they had a projector of pictures playing of Jaron. As the service is coming to a close, and Michelle is saying her last words, I was looking at the ground thinking, well, I guess I don't have to tell her. Part of me was like, phew. The other part was sad because it seemed so real, and I'm a very deep, intuitive empath. As I look up through my banks to the podium, I see Michelle ending her words and made a motion to leave the podium. Then she steps back to the podium and says, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Jaron has 2 favorite toys. His Tay, and again, it was either Popo or Papa. My mouth dropped as I looked around. I said, no effing way. Did she just say those 2 words? Like Michelle was literally getting off the podium and stepped back just to say that. After sitting there in disbelief, I then just smiled and I said, thank you, Jaron. You have given me the gift of knowledge to know that there is the other side, and we do continue on. I now had to figure out how I was going to keep my promise. I mean, I had to look for the right moment. After the funeral, we all headed over to Michelle and Randy's home. The whole time, I was looking for an opening, but I was having a hard time as I wanted to keep my promise, but she is grieving, and I don't want to come off like a loon. Finally, an opening came when we were leaving, and Michelle walked Paula, Tanya, which are my sisters, and myself to our cars. I don't remember what Michelle said, but I directed it to so I could keep my promise. I said to Michelle, you remember those 2 toys you were talking about? Well, I promised Jaron, if I heard those 2 words, Tay and Popo or Papa, I would keep my promise, and he said to tell you he is okay, and that he's sad because you're sad. Michelle looked at me and said, no, it's not Tay and Popo. It's his Tay and Papa. Now, it's been over 20 years, to be exact, so I might have that in reverse. I've always had a mental block over Popo, or was it Papa? The thing is, although Michelle didn't catch on, understandably, that I was keeping a promise, I never knew Jaron well enough, let alone knew the words he told me were about toys. But I kept my promise to Jaron. How Jaron came through to me was like a picture of a little boy. Jaron was sitting down on a log with trees and a river in front of him and long grass behind him. The sitting log was right beside the little creek, and he was looking down very sad. He was sad for what had happened to him, but his main concern was the sadness to his mom, Michelle. You see, Jaron obviously used me as an outlet because I'm very open and non judgmental about the other side, and I'm spiritual. I feel like I was his gateway to pass on a message to his mom, Michelle, and the gift to me back was the gift of knowledge and knowing. I spent a lot of time talking to Jaron over the years. He was so happy when his mom had another child. I think it was a few years later. I might not speak to Jaron as often as I did in the last 5 years or so, but I do still always, in my heart, I will always be grateful for the gift he gave me. And I used to never tell people about it, but I have in the last 10 years or so, if it means helping others heal. Love you, Michelle. Your strength was admirable during such a rough time. He impacted me in the most beautiful way ever. As I am writing this, I am smiling because I know he's right here watching me type this with a smile on his face. He is my angel. I will always be grateful he came to me, and he is grateful I kept my promise. Prayers, love, and hugs. I thought I would share this with you 20 years later. His presence is right around you and I, never to be forgotten, and one day to be united again. So, first and foremost, again, I want to say happy birthday to Jaron, and bless Michelle and her family with love and prayers as she's going to remember today, since today, of course, is Jaron's birthday. I want to thank you guys for listening if you made it the whole way through. In my heart, there's no one that could ever, like I said, take this away from me. It was a special moment. I don't know why Jaron came to me. And then when I realized that July 7th, and he's a Cancer, was his birthday, maybe that's the reason why. He knew I was the most open outlet to come through, to pass on that message. Even as I'm sitting here doing this video now, I feel his presence around me. I've been speaking to Jaron a little bit more again lately than I have. It's not that I have forgotten Jaron. It's just that I used to speak to him almost every single day. Now I just always remember mostly, the fact that he gave me this gift. So, whether people believe it or not, it's truly up to them. I would never try to ever humiliate myself on purpose and put something out there that wasn't true. I just don't work that way. But what I do believe in is the beauty of helping and healing others. So if this story, or I shouldn't say story because it was a real story, impacted somebody in any way, or if it makes you start talking to the people that are around you, because they are there. I gained that experience thanks to Jaron. To me, I'll never forget Jaron. He's the most beautiful angel to me ever. He's allowed me to communicate with my mom and other people on the other side. I know they're around, and I hope you know that too. So if you take anything from this video, I just hope it is that you know your loved ones are right around you. But you have to be willing to be open, to see the signs, to know that they are. So if you can do that, or if you can't because you're a pessimist, why not? What have you got to lose? I think it's a beautiful thing that families can send messages and signs to let you know that they are around you and that you are loved. Anyways, bless and thank you guys so much for listening to this video. And again, prayers and love to Michelle and the sadness of losing Jaron, but yet the beautiful thing that happened because of his having the meningitis, and that again inoculations became mandatory for babies that were 1 year old. And bless Jaron. Happy birthday.
No words can describe the heartache. No words of comfort anyone can say. I've never felt a pain like this before. A piece of my heart died with you. But I guess heaven needed you more. But I can't understand exactly what for. Is this a trial of my faith? A lesson to be learned? Why did my baby come to earth and then so quickly return? I gotta get up off the floor and trust that heaven needed you more. I came home to an empty nursery. Your cries and laughter won't fill this room. This was not the way I planned it. Oh Lord, I'm needing comfort from you. But I guess heaven needed you more. But I can't understand exactly what for. Is this a trial of my faith? A lesson to be learned? Why did my baby come to earth and then so quickly return? I gotta get up off the floor and trust that heaven needed you more. My arms are empty, but you'll remain in my heart. Just remember, Mommy loves you, and we're not really far apart. Yes, heaven needed you more. And I'm starting to understand exactly what for. It's been a trial of my faith. So many lessons have been learned. Yes, my baby came to earth and then so quickly returned. But I'm